It's hard to negotiate with China because they are a extremely powerful government, and they are extremely powerful globally, economically, and you don't have leverage that China does.
Hi guys. This has pretty much been Jonathan Daly.
All right, annoying clip of the week. We have, remember Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the El Salvadorian man from Maryland he's a family man according to the left, a family man according to the Democrats. And here, this clip is of AOC, love her, defending this chick might be running for president. AOC defending this guy. And then we have the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, I believe, describing who this guy, and just showing this is who the left and the Democrats like to defend. The worst of the worst. They don't ever say anything about American citizens who are law-abiding and actually contribute to society. No, they want to defend these types of people. Take a listen.
And we also demand the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia in El Salvador.
Abrego Garcia was also arrested with 2 other well-known members of the vicious MS-13 gang. And 2 separate judges found that Abrego Garcia was a member of MS-13, and that finding has never been disputed. And just this morning, it was revealed through Maryland court documents that Abrego Garcia's wife petitioned for an order of protection against him for 2 instances of domestic violence in May of 2021. And here is the order right here. The court ordered that the respondent committed the following acts of abuse. Once in May of 2021, assault in any degree. And on May 4th of 2021, he punched and scratched his wife, ripped off her shirt, and grabbed and bruised her. This is from a court in Maryland.
And yet AOC still wants to defend him.
So yeah, I mean, that's annoying. That doesn't get you riled up a little bit. I don't know what to tell you. Feel good clip of the week. This is Babylon Bee. It's not actually, it's just a post. So those of you that are just listening, I'll just have to describe it to you, but I thought it was pretty funny. From the Babylon Bee, which is a satirical site. Everything they post is satirical or sarcastic. It's not real, but it has hidden political humor and other cultural humor in it. So this post is from the Babylon Bee. It says, CNN, like a CNN headline, CNN, behind closed doors, Pope is still focused, sharp, and energetic. I don't want to be that guy that explains the joke and makes it not funny, but as you know, Pope Francis died. Not funny, of course, but CNN saying that, I believe they're alluding to the fact that they covered Joe Biden as being sharp, energetic, and focused behind closed doors for 3 or 4 years, when we all knew that was not the case, because they are just liars and they just care about the narrative and not the truth. And that's why you have people like me who try to get out there and tell the truth, regardless of how it affects us. And yeah, here we are. Anyways, Trump's first 100 days. My grade is, I don't know, B-. He's doing good on deportation. We'll get a little bit into the numbers on that in a minute. Tariffs, the tariff issue, it's a tough issue. I get it from a country as a whole standpoint. We've been ripped off by other countries, but these tariffs and their effect on the market and the effect that we really haven't even seen yet on products is yet to be seen, really. So tariffs is a scary one because of how markets have responded to it, but I say give it some time. If we have to eventually pull back, which we probably will, then we will. But a lot of countries have come up and are trying to negotiate. China, not so much. It's hard to negotiate with China because they are a extremely powerful government, and they are extremely powerful globally, economically, and you don't have leverage that China does, because China doesn't care about their citizens. They're fine with their citizens being poor and living in waste, and they don't care about the environment. They don't care. All they care about is power and more of it. So they aren't at the whims of the actual voters in China, because as they have admitted, and they said it as a power play, but it's like, wow, weird flex that, oh, the dynasty that's currently in power has been in power for 100 and however many years now, despite war, famine, plague, pretty much the utter destruction of their citizens, and their citizens being put through hell and millions of people dying, but they've still remained in power, which weird flex. I mean, you guys have remained in power, good job, but your country has not been happy and your citizens probably hate you, but hey, weird flex. But they are correct that President Trump and the Trump administration is at the whims, and we do have midterms in a year and a half, so the American people still have some say in what happens, so they do have to consider that, whereas the Chinese Communist Party doesn't doesn't really care. They're just going to sit on this and not budge and not try to reach an agreement and negotiate with Trump because, they don't need to, because they're fine with, they know they're going to stay in power. They know they don't have to worry about voters. And if things get worse for their citizens and their country, that'll be okay. Because as long as the government stays in power and the government is strong, then they don't really care. So that is what it is. So tariffs might be a tough issue, but hey, this guy, art of the deal, we might be very surprised, and the tariffs might be the right move. So, that is yet to be seen. Fighting schools and Department of Education, I think Trump's doing a great job of that right now. There's currently a lawsuit going on between Harvard. The Department of Education, they are trying to completely eradicate it, which I do have to agree with. It is a giant slush fund of money that is used for propaganda and just pushing leftist ideology, almost 100% leftist ideology, through our schools, pumping it straight into the veins of our children, and using that money to fund school unions and using it to just fund all sorts of leftist organizations. And then we have schools like Harvard that literally have billions of dollars coming from the Department of Education and billions of dollars from foreign terrorist organizations going to it and that are fighting the Trump administration, because the Trump administration, all they tried to do in this case, and I don't want to discuss too into detail, but all they did was they're no longer receiving federal funding. Harvard is no longer receiving federal funding because the Trump administration is saying that they aren't abiding by the Civil Rights Act. Civil Rights Act is because, as most people know, the Civil Rights Act for racial issues, but in this case it is a racial issue. They're not protecting Jewish students on their campus. They are allowing Palestinian activists and terrorist organizations to do all the striking, yelling, and uproar that they want, and they are not protecting the Jewish students who are being pushed around, shoved around, and not allowed to actually attend their classes on campus without being bullied, threatened violently, etc. So that's the reason they lost their funding, and now they're whining about it and suing the federal government. So we'll see how that goes, but good for the Trump administration on standing up and doing what's right for the civil rights of Jewish students and just civil rights of everyone. If you let one party have civil rights and others not, then the civil rights are not being upheld. So they're doing the right thing there. So good grade there. DEI, the ending of DEI, he's done some good things with that. We are already seeing the return of meritocracy. I saw an update about the helicopter crash in DC and the fact that the woman and the female, doesn't mean that all female pilots are bad, but this female pilot specifically was definitely in her position because of her politics. And if there's history, if you go look at her background and the groups and activist programs she was in, and then we now have a transcript coming out from her male co-pilot. Oh God, and he's probably male, straight and white. Oh, the worst people, who literally tells her minutes before the crash to veer left. Quote, I think that the control tower wants us to turn left to avoid this upcoming plane, helicopter, whatever it was. And she ignores it. And he literally says, and she did not listen. She completely ignored me. Because, the straight white men, ignore them, pieces of crap. Anyways, overall B-, first 100 days. Could be a little better, but overall doing what he's supposed to be doing. Good on deportation. That's what he was elected to do, to deport the criminals. And again, with this Kilmar Abrego Garcia person, this is the best that the Democrats and the left can come up with as an example of someone that was deported when they shouldn't have been. Legally speaking, they might be correct, but good Lord, pick a better person pick someone who's actually a decent human being that was contributing to American society, not a wife-beating MS-13 member, guys. Sheesh. Anyways, immigration numbers. Last thing I want to talk about, immigration numbers since Clinton, and I got this from ChatGPT. So just to give people a little ballpark overview of what our immigration and deportation numbers have looked like since President Clinton. So from 1993 to 2001, so we're talking 8 years, 2 terms. With Clinton, there's 870,000 removals or deportation. That's pretty decent number, almost to 1 million. This is 1993 to 2001, so illegal immigration was probably not nearly to the extent as it is now, so keep that in mind. I'm just going to go through the rest of these, and you can make your own interpretation. So that was Clinton, 870,000 during 1993 to 2001. George W. Bush, so that's another 2-year term, 2001 to 2009, had 2 million deportations. Obama, yeah, that's right, Obama, 2009 to 2017, 2 terms, 3 million deportations. So yeah, Obama was deporting 3 million people, more than Clinton or George W. Based on the timing of this period, the time period, that would make sense because there's just more illegal immigration. The government is stronger, more powerful, just more people in general. It would make sense that these numbers keep going up. Trump administration won, so if we're talking 4 years, 2017 to 2021, 1.8 million. So pretty high number. I mean, if he stayed on pace, he probably would have had more than Obama in deportations. But we're getting to that because, you know, he was only there for 4 years. And then Biden administration, 4 years, thank God, 2021 through 2025, 1.5 million. So almost as many as Trump's first administration, allegedly. That's what's going on. So it's just funny to see how politics and numbers don't always mix up. And then Trump administration 2, in the first 100 days, 142,000. So that means on the current pace, if President Trump and the Trump administration can keep the current pace, he's on pace to do about 2.1 million or so deportations by the end of this term. So that would be a total of almost 4 million. But again, Obama had 3 million. So in his 8 years, so I'm just... Where have we come at a country where they're acting like Trump is a Nazi and he's deporting everybody when these are actually very reasonable numbers based on Clinton, George W., Obama, Trump 1, Biden, and Trump 2. It's confusing. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. Please like, follow, subscribe, and yes, get your daily dose of excellence on a daily basis. I said daily too many times. See ya. For the latest in case updates, legal tips, news, and politics, make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and our other socials, and above all, subscribe on YouTube to get your dose of excellence on a daily basis.